There are divine laws that govern all success, laws that never sleep, never weaken, and never fail. When one aligns with these laws, prosperity flows as naturally as the river finds the sea. The Spirit never designed man for lack, struggle, or defeat. Man was born to create, to serve, and to prosper through right ideas. Ideas that carry the seal of the infinite. There are 4 businesses, 4 sacred callings of the soul that can never fail, for they are founded upon eternal truth, not the fleeting fashions of men. These are not careers of chance, but channels of divine order. When the heart is attuned to the will of God, every act becomes a ministry, every labor a prayer, and every exchange a covenant with abundance. The first business that never fails is the business of faith. Faith is the invisible currency of heaven. It is the unseen investment that multiplies in silence. Faith is not blind hope. It is vision beyond sight. When one walks by faith, he trades in the unseen market of miracles. Every word spoken in faith is a deposit in the divine bank. Every thought of confidence is a seed sown in eternal soil. No outer condition can bankrupt the man or woman who conducts their affairs in faith. For faith calls the invisible into form and declares, there is always supply for every demand. The second business that never fails is the business of love. Love is the only force that dissolves all opposition. It is the universal solvent that melts fear, resentment, and separation. To trade in love is to trade in God's own currency, for God is love. The heart that gives freely, that blesses all competitors, that serves with joy and gratitude, that heart shall never know failure. Love attracts its own. Every loving act, every word of kindness, every honest service rendered, these are divine transactions, returning multiplied blessings. The third business that never fails is the business of righteous action. When a man does right because it is right, unseen powers go to work on his behalf. There is no competition in righteousness, for the righteous stand under divine protection. Their ventures prosper because they are guided by integrity. They do not deceive, for they know deception destroys its own vassal. Every action made in obedience to divine law builds unseen equity in the bank of heaven. No storm can destroy what is built upon truth. The fourth business that never fails is the business of gratitude. Gratitude is the magnet of miracles. It opens the gates of supply and keeps the heart tuned to abundance. The grateful soul sees blessings before they appear, and by recognition, calls them into form. To give thanks in advance is to affirm faith in divine order. The grateful merchant, the thankful artist, the appreciative worker, all are partners with infinite intelligence. When one conducts the business of life through faith, love, right action, and gratitude, failure becomes impossible. For these are not human enterprises, they are divine partnerships. They are the everlasting businesses of God, and they yield eternal profit to every soul who dares to believe. Faith is the first and greatest business of life, for it deals directly in the unseen resources of the divine. Faith is not a vague emotion or a hopeful wish. It is the spiritual certainty that what is desired is already accomplished in the realm of spirit. It is the clear knowing that every good thing already exists in the invisible, waiting only for belief to call it into form. Faith is the inner assurance that the invisible supply is more real and enduring than the visible lack. When one walks in faith, one steps beyond appearances and trades in the limitless economy of God, where nothing is impossible and every need is met through divine order. Faith begins where reason ends. It is the power that lifts the soul above fear and limitation. The mind, governed by logic and sight, will often declare that success is uncertain, that the way is blocked, or that conditions are unfavorable. But faith hears another voice, the voice of spirit whispering, "All things are possible to him that believeth." Faith never consults circumstances, it speaks to them. It does not wait for proof, it becomes the proof. When a person acts in faith, they activate unseen forces that move mountains of opposition and clear pathways where none existed before. In the business of faith, one learns that words are the instruments of creation. Every statement of truth, spoken with conviction, becomes a decree that reshapes reality. The one who understands this law guards their tongue, knowing that every idle or fearful word is a withdrawal from the divine account. Faith speaks abundance when lack seems loud. It speaks health when weakness whispers. It speaks victory when defeat looms near. The faithful do not describe the storm, they command it to cease. They do not discuss the mountain, they tell it to move. For faith is the voice of authority, born from divine partnership, and the universe responds to the vibration of belief. Faith requires discipline of thought. The mind must be trained to turn away from appearances of failure and hold steadfastly to the idea of success. This is not denial of reality, but recognition of a higher reality. The seen is temporary, the unseen is eternal. Faith knows that the visible world is only the mirror of one's inner state, and when the inner vision is lifted to truth, the outer world rearranges itself in harmony. The businessman who operates by faith does not panic when sales are low, nor does he yield to worry when doors appear closed. He blesses the situation, affirms divine supply, and acts with the calm certainty that God's plan cannot fail. Faith is not passive, it is active expectancy. It demands movement in alignment with belief. The farmer plants his seed in faith, though the soil looks barren. The artist paints in faith, though no patron yet calls. The dreamer builds in faith, though the foundation is invisible. Action taken in faith multiplies results beyond measure, for heaven rushes to meet the soul that dares to step forward without visible guarantee. Every venture that succeeds in divine timing is born from faith that refuses to doubt. Faith is also the great eliminator of fear. Where faith abides, fear dissolves like mist before the morning sun. Fear is faith in evil. It is belief in failure, belief in loss, belief in separation from source. To conquer fear is not to resist it, but to replace it with unwavering trust in divine protection and provision. The faithful man walks through uncertainty as if through sunlight, untouched by shadows, for he knows that God's law of good governs all. The business of faith is a partnership with the infinite. One supplies belief, and God supplies manifestation. One speaks the word, and divine intelligence performs the work. Faith is not strain, it is surrender to divine order. It is resting in the assurance that every right desire is already complete in the mind of God. The faithful soul does not chase success, he magnetizes it. He does not struggle for opportunity, he attracts it through the calm certainty of divine timing. To live by faith is to live in the continual awareness that supply, ideas, and opportunities are inexhaustible. Faith never says, "There is not enough," for it knows that the universe is a warehouse of abundance waiting to be claimed. It looks beyond competition and sees infinite channels of prosperity. Every act of faith draws new resources from the unseen. Every prayer spoken in confidence sets invisible law into motion. When one builds his business, his art, his purpose upon the rock of faith, the winds may blow and the waves may rise, yet his foundation stands firm, for it rests upon divine principle. Faith is the only true capital that cannot depreciate. It is the eternal investment that multiplies without risk, for it operates under the government of God. The soul that conducts its affairs in faith is never bankrupt, never abandoned, never without answer. Faith calls things that are not as though they were, and by calling makes them so. It is the silent power behind every true success, the golden key that unlocks all doors of opportunity, and the invisible substance from which all visible good proceeds. Love is the greatest law in the universe and the purest expression of divine intelligence. It is not merely an emotion that flickers and fades. It is the essence of God moving through every form, every relationship, every exchange of life. To live, work, or build without love is to labor in vain, for only love endures. Love is the golden current that connects all creation, the unseen bond that harmonizes opposites and transforms discord into beauty. When one enters the business of love, one trades not in material goods but in spiritual wealth. Every thought, word, and deed becomes an investment in eternal gain, and the returns are multiplied beyond measure. Love is the invisible magnet that draws all good. It dissolves fear, resentment, envy, and judgment, the poisons that choke prosperity and dim the light of the soul. When love fills the heart, the mind becomes clear and radiant, and all that is needed flows with ease. The one who loves cannot fail, because love is alignment with divine law. It is the force that keeps the universe in perfect rhythm, the pulse of creation itself. Every act of love harmonizes with the will of God, and harmony is the true foundation of lasting success. In business, in art, in service, love is the unseen manager of miracles. The merchant who serves his customers with love gives more than a product. He gives energy that uplifts the spirit. The artist who paints or writes with love breathes life into form. The leader who governs with love inspires loyalty and trust beyond logic. Love cannot be imitated or manufactured. It must be felt, lived, and expressed sincerely. Its vibration is unmistakable, and all creation responds to it. Love opens doors that intellect alone cannot unlock. When one speaks or acts from love, every obstacle is softened, every difficulty finds resolution. Love does not resist, it embraces and transforms. The law of love is not weak or sentimental, it is the strongest force in existence. It conquers through compassion, not control. It wins through understanding, not argument. The man or woman who loves unconditionally has tapped into a power that no competition can rival. To work in love is to carry the fragrance of heaven into the marketplace, to turn daily tasks into sacred service. Love is also the secret of true giving. To give without love is to give emptiness. To give with love is to multiply both gift and giver. Love infuses substance with life. A small act done with love carries more power than grand gestures done for gain. The universe recognizes the vibration of sincerity and responds in kind. The one who gives lovingly never loses. What leaves the hand in love returns multiplied through unseen channels. Love also brings divine intelligence into every decision. It reveals what intellect cannot see. When love leads, intuition sharpens, and right action becomes effortless. There is no confusion in love, for it is guided by the heart's wisdom. Love never hurries, yet it never delays. It moves in perfect timing. It knows when to speak and when to be silent, when to act and when to rest. Those who let love guide their steps walk a path of light, and all that is truly theirs finds its way to them. In the realm of love, there is no separation. Love sees the divine in every soul and blesses all, even those who oppose or misunderstand. The one who practices love blesses his competitors, knowing that their good cannot diminish his own. In this way, love eliminates envy and rivalry. It turns the world into a field of cooperation rather than struggle. The heart that loves radiates peace, and peace attracts prosperity. For where there is peace, there is power, and where there is power, success naturally follows. Love also heals the inner wounds that block success. Many fail not because of lack of skill, but because bitterness, fear, or pride closes the channels of divine flow. Love opens those channels again. It forgives, releases, and renews. To love is to be free. Free from the burden of resentment, free from the prison of self-doubt. The soul that loves knows that nothing is lost, for love never ends. Even what appears to be loss is transformed into blessing under the light of love. Every enterprise built on love becomes a ministry of good. Every exchange becomes holy. Money itself becomes a servant of higher purpose, circulating freely where love reigns. The energy of love blesses all it touches, multiplying prosperity in ways the mind cannot calculate. Those who work in love never experience real failure, for love's vibration carries the signature of eternal success. Love does not calculate profit, it creates it naturally through service, joy, and blessing. To live by love is to align with the heartbeat of creation itself. It is to move in harmony with divine purpose and to express God through every action, no matter how small. The person who truly understands love does not chase reward or recognition. They radiate such warmth and beauty that reward seeks them out. Love is not a tool or strategy, it is the very essence of spiritual power. Wherever love is, and wherever God is, success is certain. Righteous action is the natural expression of a soul attuned to divine order. It is the alignment of deed with truth, the perfect balance between intention and execution. When one acts rightly, not because of fear or favor, but because rightness itself is the voice of God within, that person becomes an instrument of power. Every step taken in righteousness carries the authority of divine law, and every effort made in harmony with truth gathers invisible assistance. To act righteously is to move with the current of the universe, not against it. It is to trust that integrity is always the most profitable investment, even when appearances seem to say otherwise. The world often teaches that cleverness, competition, and compromise are the secrets of success, but divine wisdom reveals a higher law. True success is never won through deceit or manipulation. Such gains crumble like dust because they are built upon falsehood. The righteous act, though it may appear slow to yield, bears fruit that endures. The man or woman who stands firm in honesty and principle, even in the face of loss, is planting seeds in eternal soil. Every act of truth is a deposit in the unseen treasury of God, and in due season it returns multiplied beyond measure. Righteous action begins with purity of motive. The heart must be free from greed, envy, and fear. To act rightly is not only to do the correct thing outwardly, but to do it with the correct spirit inwardly. A word spoken in pretense, an act done for show, or a service rendered without sincerity may seem right to the world, yet lacks the vibration of truth. Divine law is not deceived by appearances. It measures every act by its inner quality. When the motive is pure, the outer results align perfectly. For the universe supports the clean heart and the just hand. Every field of endeavor, whether in business, art, teaching, or service, demands righteousness as its foundation. The employer who treats his workers fairly, the merchant who deals in honesty, the artist who refuses to compromise truth for applause, all are performing divine work. They may not always see immediate reward, but the invisible law ensures that their labor is never lost. Righteousness is magnetic. It draws success in ways the intellect cannot trace. Integrity creates a field of trust, and trust is the soil in which prosperity grows. Righteous action also requires courage. It means standing alone at times, refusing to yield to pressure or imitation. The path of truth is often narrow and untraveled, yet it is the only path that leads to peace. The unrighteous may flourish for a moment, but their success is built on shifting sand. The righteous stand upon the rock of divine law, unshaken by the storms of opinion or circumstance. Their faithfulness becomes their fortress, and their word becomes power, for it carries the vibration of divine authority. To act righteously is also to act with order. Divine law is orderly, precise, and exact. Every careless deed, every dishonest word, every lazy thought creates confusion and delay. But right action brings clarity, harmony, and progress. The one who practices rightness in small things builds strength for greater works. The simple act of doing one's duty with care, gratitude, and sincerity opens doors that ambition alone could never open. The universe rewards diligence, patience, and truth. Righteous action is not rigid morality. It is spiritual intelligence. It listens for divine guidance before it moves. It asks not, "What will bring the quickest reward?" but rather, "What is right in the sight of God?" This inner questioning keeps the soul aligned with higher law. When the answer comes, the righteous act without hesitation, for they know that obedience to divine prompting is the surest path to success. The man who acts upon divine intuition moves with unseen precision. His timing is perfect, and his results are blessed. There is also a rhythm in righteous action, a divine timing that must be respected. Righteousness does not rush, yet it does not delay through doubt. It acts in perfect peace, knowing that haste and worry disturb the flow of good. The righteous man moves quietly but effectively, like a river that shapes stone through patient persistence. He does not seek credit or praise. His satisfaction is in the knowing that his work bears the mark of truth. The power of right action extends beyond personal success. It becomes a blessing to all who encounter it. Every righteous deed releases light into the world, raising the vibration of humanity itself. The one who acts rightly becomes a living channel of divine order, influencing others without words. A just merchant uplifts his community. An honest teacher enlightens generations. A truthful artist awakens souls. Right action ripples outward in ways unseen, and its effect endures long after the deed is done. To live and act righteously is to become a co-worker with the infinite. It is to move through life as a conscious servant of divine law, knowing that every thought and action is recorded in the great ledger of spirit. The righteous do not need to chase reward, for the law itself becomes their reward. Their every step is guarded, their every effort multiplied, their every intention purified through divine grace. Righteous action is the truest form of wisdom, the divine partnership between man and the unseen forces of good that govern all creation. Gratitude is the language of divine abundance, the invisible bridge between desire and manifestation. It is the recognition of good before it appears, the acknowledgement that all things are working together under perfect law. Gratitude does not wait for blessings to arrive. It calls them forth by faith. It is a spiritual magnet that draws every needed thing into form. The soul that lives in gratitude lives in continual harvest, for the thankful heart opens channels the ungrateful heart closes. Gratitude is not mere politeness or habit. It is a vibration that aligns man with the rhythm of God's generosity. To be grateful is to see with the eyes of spirit. It is to look beyond appearances of lack and recognize divine supply, flowing even in silence. Gratitude transforms perception, turning the common into the sacred and the ordinary into the miraculous. The person who practices gratitude finds beauty where others find disappointment, opportunity where others see delay, and blessing in every challenge. Gratitude does not deny difficulty, but perceives its hidden purpose. It says, "Even this shall reveal good," and by that declaration, the good is revealed. Gratitude is also the secret of multiplication. Whatever one thanks increases, whatever one complains about diminishes. The universe responds to the dominant tone of one's thought. When a man gives thanks for what little he has, he acknowledges abundance, and that acknowledgement expands it. When he complains or fears loss, he affirms limitation, and limitation answers him in kind. The grateful heart is a fountain, the ungrateful is a closed vessel. Gratitude keeps the spiritual current of supply circulating freely. In the unseen economy of God, gratitude is the payment of faith. It precedes receiving. It is the spiritual signature that authorizes the release of good. To give thanks before the answer comes is the highest form of belief, for it declares that divine law is already at work. The thankful soul does not beg, does not plead, does not question. It rejoices in advance, knowing that every prayer is already answered in the invisible. This vibration of joyous expectation hastens manifestation, for the universe hastens to fulfill the consciousness of completion. Gratitude also refines the mind and keeps the emotions pure. It dissolves envy, pride, and discontent. The thankful person cannot harbor resentment, for gratitude and bitterness cannot dwell together. Gratitude heals the heart from the poison of comparison and releases the soul from the illusion of lack. It shifts attention from what is missing to what is present, from what is lost to what is eternal. Through gratitude, one discovers that abundance is not a condition but a consciousness, and when that consciousness is established, outer supply naturally follows. Every action done with gratitude carries power. The worker who performs his task with a thankful spirit infuses it with blessing. The merchant who appreciates his customers multiplies his prosperity. The artist who gives thanks for inspiration opens himself to greater ideas. Gratitude dignifies all labor and elevates every exchange. It makes the smallest act a sacred offering. When gratitude is woven into work, work becomes worship, and success becomes inevitable. Gratitude is also the key to divine timing. It removes anxiety and impatience by trusting that every delay hides a blessing. The grateful heart knows that nothing is withheld, only prepared. When gratitude reigns, worry loses its grip, and peace takes its place. This peace allows divine ideas to flow freely, and those ideas bring perfect results. Gratitude is the atmosphere in which divine intelligence can operate without interference, for it replaces resistance with receptivity. Gratitude is not dependent upon conditions, it creates them. To wait for something to be grateful for is to misunderstand the law. Gratitude must come first, and then the evidence follows. The soil gives because it is fertile. It does not become fertile after it gives. Likewise, the grateful heart becomes the fertile ground from which blessings grow. To give thanks for unseen supply is to plant the seed of visible prosperity. Even in adversity, gratitude reveals the hidden gift. Every challenge carries a message, and every disappointment conceals direction. The grateful soul listens and learns, transforming hardship into wisdom. Gratitude turns tests into testimonies and obstacles into stepping stones. It is the alchemy of spirit, transmuting every shadow into light. Where gratitude abides, fear and doubt cannot remain. The law of gratitude is also the law of increase. Those who give thanks continually find that life gives back to them in kind. Every sunrise becomes a promise, every encounter a lesson, every breath a reminder of divine life flowing through them. Gratitude expands awareness until one perceives God's abundance in every particle of existence. It lifts the mind from the narrowness of want to the vastness of plenty. To live in gratitude is to live in harmony with divine order. It is to tune the soul to the frequency of blessing so completely that all good naturally gravitates toward it. Gratitude is both prayer and fulfillment, both seed and harvest. It transforms desire into realization by making the soul one with the good it seeks. The thankful person moves through life with calm assurance, for they know that the law of good never fails and that gratitude is the golden key that keeps that law forever active in their favor. Divine alignment is the silent harmony between the human will and the will of God. It is the inner recognition that life is not a battle to be won, but a current to be followed. When one aligns with divine purpose, struggle dissolves, confusion clears, and every step becomes guided by invisible wisdom. Alignment is not passive surrender, but conscious cooperation with the higher plan already written for every soul. It is the art of letting go of resistance and trusting that divine intelligence knows the perfect time, place, and way for every manifestation. To live in alignment is to work with the universe instead of against it, allowing the infinite order to direct every movement and decision. When one is out of alignment, life feels heavy and uncertain. Effort becomes strain. Opportunities close, and the path ahead seems clouded. But when divine alignment is restored, everything begins to flow. The right people appear, the right ideas unfold, and doors open without force. Alignment is the awareness that there is a rhythm governing all things, and that rhythm never falters. Just as the planets move in perfect orbit, so too does the life of one who is attuned to divine guidance. Every thought, word, and act becomes part of a greater harmony that leads unfailingly toward fulfillment. Divine alignment begins with stillness. The outer world is filled with noise, but alignment is found in quiet recognition of inner truth. The voice of the Spirit does not shout, it whispers. The soul must become calm to hear it. Through prayer, meditation, or silent listening, one begins to perceive the divine impulse beneath the surface of thought. When the mind is still, guidance arises naturally, not as an effort but as a knowing. This knowing is precise, immediate, and trustworthy. It directs action without anxiety and inspires decisions without doubt. To live in alignment means to act when prompted and to rest when guided. Many people push ahead from fear of delay while others hesitate from fear of failure. Both are forms of resistance. Divine alignment requires sensitivity to the rhythm of spirit, a rhythm that is neither hurried nor idle. When the inner voice says move, the aligned soul moves without hesitation. When it says wait, the aligned soul rests without worry. This obedience to divine timing brings about results that no human planning could achieve. Alignment also requires purification of desire. The human will often seeks control, security, and recognition, while the divine will seeks expression, service, and balance. When one's motives are purified of self-centered ambition, alignment becomes effortless. The soul that desires to serve, to bless, to uplift is naturally drawn into divine harmony. The energy of pure intention is magnetic to divine power. Every thought that aligns with love, truth, and faith attracts guidance from the unseen realm. The one who desires only the good of all finds the entire universe working in their favor. Divine alignment is the opposite of resistance. Resistance is born from fear, fear that things will not work out, that life must be controlled, that we are separate from divine supply. But alignment rests in the knowing that the universe is benevolent and self-correcting. It trusts that every event carries purpose, even those that seem adverse. The aligned soul blesses every circumstance, saying, "This too is part of the plan," and by that recognition, harmony is restored. Resistance creates tension and delay, but alignment releases power and peace. To maintain alignment, one must walk in constant awareness of divine presence. It is not enough to pray for guidance in moments of need. One must live as if guidance is always active. Every decision, every interaction, every task can be a communion with Spirit when done consciously. Divine alignment turns ordinary life into sacred expression. The worker, the artist, the teacher, the healer, all who remember the divine partnership in their daily work move in grace. They are no longer driven by effort, but carried by inspiration. Alignment also brings clarity in relationships and purpose. When the soul is aligned, it no longer clings to people or situations that drain its energy. It naturally releases what no longer serves and welcomes what belongs by right of divine law. There is no struggle to hold or to let go. Everything finds its proper place. Alignment does not force harmony, it reveals it. When one stands in divine order, all relationships, resources, and opportunities adjust themselves accordingly. There is a quiet confidence that comes with alignment. The aligned person does not compete, for they know that what is theirs cannot be taken. They do not chase, for they know that what belongs to them will arrive in perfect timing. They do not live in anxiety about the future, for they know that divine law cannot fail. Their peace is their power. In that peace, new ideas are born effortlessly, solutions appear naturally, and success unfolds without strain. Divine alignment is the highest form of success because it unites human purpose with cosmic intention. It is not the pursuit of personal gain, but the realization of divine order through human expression. When the will of man becomes one with the will of God, miracles cease to be exceptions and become the natural rhythm of daily life. The aligned soul moves with certainty, knowing that every step, every encounter, and every opportunity has been perfectly arranged by the unseen hand of divine wisdom.